That vape pen or jar of cannabis flower you hold in your hand might seem far removed from the world of international trade, but both come preloaded with President Trump's new tariffs on Chinese-made goods. The new taxes are squeezing cannabis companies, and consumers may feel the hit as well. Trump's trade war with China has hit the cannabis industry, which is now dealing with a 25% increase in the cost of the partly assembled consumer goods it imports from China. $2 cartridges are now $2.50. An extra 50 cents might not seem like much, but it has a ripple effect, explained Peter Hackett, CEO of Air Vapor, a US vaporizer hardware distributor. Let's say you're a high-volume vape cartridge importer. Multiply an extra 50 cents per unit by 1 million units, and you now have a $500K hole in your budget. These tariffs just reverberate up and down the supply chain. Cannabis consumers aren't likely to see an immediate jump in the price of Chinese-made products. Instead, expect cannabis packaging importers and finished goods manufacturers to attempt to absorb the cost through thinner margins, cost-cutting, a deficit spending. What that means to consumers. Trump's China tariffs are leading to a lower quality products that carry a higher cost. That's a hit that the biggest companies with the deepest pockets can afford to absorb. Smaller operations may have a tougher time of it. More than 3 years ago, Ventura County Sheriff's detectives raided an Ojai medical marijuana cooperative, the home of its co-founder and other sites, seizing as many as 880 manufactured plants, cannabis oils, computers, cell phones, and member records. Prosecutors filed more than 40 felony charges against Shangra-La Care Cooperative board president and co-founder Jeffrey Kroll in 2016, after a series of raids months before California voters legalized recreational marijuana. Allegations range from the illegal sale or transportation of marijuana and manufacturing concentrated cannabis to money laundering and not filing income tax returns. All charges were ultimately dismissed. None of Kroll's or Shangri-La's seized property has been returned, according to a motion filed in Ventura County Superior Court in May. The motion said the property seizure stopped the distribution of cannabis medications to more than 700 Shangri-La members. It alleges several people diagnosed with life-threatening illnesses died. The seized property included client records containing medical information, said Kroll, adding that his members are upset the data hasn't been returned. A hearing is set for June 26th. Illinois became the country's first state to legalize recreational marijuana cultivation and sales through its legislature, a landmark move that paves the way for the creation of one of the nation's largest adult-use cannabis markets. Marijuana Business Daily projects the Illinois recreational market potentially will eclipse $2 billion in annual sales a few years after the program launches in early 2020, possibly reaching $2.5 billion. The state is now poised to become the second in the Midwest to legalize recreational marijuana after Michigan, whose voters passed a referendum last November. Illinois will become the 11th state, plus Washington, D.C., to legalize recreational marijuana. The Illinois House gave final approval to the legislation measure on Friday in a 66-47 vote after the state Senate passed an amended version by a 38-17 margin. A 10% tax would apply to cannabis flower or products with less than 35% THC, and a 20% tax would apply to products infused with cannabis, such as edible products. A 25% tax would apply to any product with a THC concentration higher than 35%. Existing medical marijuana license holders would get an early start and could begin adult use sales on January the 1st, 2020. They also each could open an additional store, assuming all 55 licenses take advantage of that provision. 110 stores could be selling recreational cannabis by early 2020. In the first licensing round, the state would award permits for up to 75 stores, 40 processors, and 40 craft growers. In a second wave in December 2021, the state could issue licenses for an additional 110 stores, 60 craft growers, and 60 processors. Municipalities can opt out of recreational MJ, although Chicago is expected to be open and welcoming. An adult could possess and purchase up to 30 grams of cannabis. The Salt Lake Tribune reports that the price for landing a license to grow medical cannabis in Utah could cost $100K per a year, plus a $10K application fee, according to draft rules published in the Utah State Bulletin dated May 15. State agriculture officials are scheduled to hold a hearing on the proposed rules on Wednesday. The Agricultural Department said it expects to spend more than $560K a year to oversee cannabis cultivation and manage a digital platform that will track each plant to the point of sale. With 10 grower licenses initially available, revenues to the Agricultural Department could top $1.1 million in the first year and stay at about $1 million over the following years as cultivators pay the renewal fee, the newspaper reported. Denver-based Medicine Man Technologies agreed to purchase Colorado's largest outdoor cannabis grower, as well as a local manufacturing and dispensary company, saying a new state investment law paved the way for the deals. Terms weren't disclosed. Medicine Man is acquiring cannabis cultivator Los Sueños Farms and Mesa Pure, a dispensary and infused products company doing business at Purplebee's. Both companies are located in southern Colorado, in Pueblo County. According to a news release, the acquisition was made possible by the recent passage of House Bill 19-1090, which allows out-of-state investors and capital such as publicly held companies and large venture funds to acquire Colorado marijuana companies. Medicine Man, which has been an acquisition spree, trades on the over-the-counter markets under the ticker symbol MDCL. The acquisition of Los Sueños Farms and Mesa Pure, according to a news release, will increase Medicine Man's footprint and expand its operations in cultivation, extraction, production, and sales, advancing its plan to become a vertically integrated operator. According to the release, Los Sueños is the largest cannabis farm in North America, with 36 acres of farmland under cultivation and an additional 36,000 square feet of cannabis greenhouses. HempAmericana Inc., an emerging leader in the CBD products market, is thrilled to announce a new purchase order with Eagle Hemp of Florida for more than $175K for delivery of bottled CBD oil, with additional orders to come as part of an unbound long-term supply relationship. Eagle Hemp will finance all shipping, labeling, and bottling costs in addition to purchasing the final product at competitive pricing. HempAmericana will receive a $3 fee for bottling the finished product using its state-of-the-art technology. The 30-milliliter bottles will contain 3 different potencies of CBD suspended in an MCT-based oil. The Canadian government is investing $24.5 million into cannabis research to further advancements in cannabis medicine. The funds will ensure that Canada continues to pump out cannabis research news for years to come. In total, 26 projects will receive a share of the cash. 3 of these will take place at the University of Calgary, where the announcement was made. The university has played a leading role in investigating cannabis in Canada. Overall, they will receive $500K in funding. Studies at the school will include research regarding cannabis' ability to treat migraines, cannabinoid and hyperemesis syndrome, and youth harm reduction, especially in marginalized communities. A small percentage of long-term cannabis consumers develop CHS. It is a condition involving severe vomiting. The Harm Reduction Project at the University of Calgary will be headed by Dr. Rebecca Haynes-Saar, who said, "Just say no is not an effective strategy." She continued, "Now we're trying to mobilize different messages." The funding will go toward research teams tasked with studying the effects of medical cannabis as treatment for cancer, chronic pain, and neurodevelopment. In other cannabis research news out of Canada, the CIHR's press release announced 3 further new sources of funding. $4.5 million from the Canadian Centre on Substance Use and Addiction. This will fund research into the effect of Canada's cannabis laws on public health. $2.85 million from the Mental Health Commission of Canada. This will plug gaps in our understanding of cannabis effects on mental health. And $390K from Health Canada's Substance Abuse and Addictions Program for 2 cannabis public awareness projects in Alberta. Clearly, legislation in Canada has had its share of startup issues. But the government's latest investment shows that it's serious about positioning itself at the forefront of the cannabis industry. Furthermore, with countries like Uruguay, the Netherlands, and Israel prioritizing cannabis research, America has some catching up to do.